the comfort zone, the amazing comfort zone that we both love and hate. Well, today I'm going on a business trip or on a work trip, and I'm gonna take you with me. But I was thinking that instead of making it about that, which is not that interesting, I was actually gonna talk about this main subject that for me it took a long time to get over. So let's keep going. Yeah, today I'm going on a work trip to London for 2 days, and I have to admit I am a little bit nervous. Funny part is actually the second time I go to London on a work trip, but somehow I'm still feeling a little bit nervous about it, and that's because of the comfort zone. Wait a minute. Now it's me. The dog that always wants to keep me company when I'm making videos. So as I was saying, the reason I am so nervous about doing a work trip, even though it's a second time, is called comfort zone, and it basically means, you know, when you are in a place where you feel safe, a place where you are not being tested. And what better place if not in my bedroom, in the place where everything in here is under my control. You see, during all of this time, I understood that being in a comfort zone is like really good in the sense that you feel good, you feel like you're in a place where everything is under your control. But quickly things start to go a little bit to the dark side, because suddenly everything that is a little bit different from what you're used to makes you really stressed. For example, when I was in Lisbon, I couldn't go to the groceries, I couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't take a bus, a metro, whatever it was, anything that was a little bit different than what I was used from my small town made me really nervous. And it's not that I couldn't do it, it's that I would always avoid it as much as I could. Well, and that became kind of a big problem, because when you are living in your comfort zone, you either go completely crazy or you step up and you change your life. And unfortunately, I was there in the middle. I was kinda going to the crazy side, but some part of me really wanted to change this. I didn't like to feel stressed about every single thing that was new, but at the same time, I didn't really know what to do about it. And so I really wanted a solution. So I spent a lot of time, you know, watching videos, reading some blogs, trying to understand how I could actually be able to fix this problem. And after some research, I understood that... Wait. You're gonna see the dog. I don't know if you can see it, but I was doing the video, and suddenly I start hearing, you know, in the door. And the doggy appears. He appears. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna keep doing my video, okay? You can stay here, yes. As I was saying, I researched a really lot, and after some time I finally understood that the only way you can actually face a fear of doing something is by literally doing it. And it can seem super obvious for you as it was for me, because after I found that solution I was like, I mean, I'm not that dumb, I know that, I mean, but there's definitely other solutions, no? And that's when you realize that no, you can either face it or run away from it. If you run away from it, you are never going to have the courage to do it, and you are basically going to teach yourself that you can get away of stuff. And when you start getting away of everything that scares you, suddenly you become a person very stressed, because everything will make you stressed. Everything will be a challenge. And that's not really healthy at the end of the day. And that's when I understood it, and that's when I learned this, and that's when I decided to try it out. So don't worry, I am not here to tell you this and then I didn't do anything, because I actually decided to try this out. I looked at myself and I was like, okay, let's do it. First things I started by doing was taking the bus and the train more. I actually had the pass, you know, that you can go wherever you want for a month, because I was a student at that time. And so instead of staying always, you know, close between the school and my house, I started going to random places. I remember that one day I actually went to a place called Cabo da Roca, which is in Lisbon, and I even went to a beach that is called Praia da Ursa, and those two places were really hard to find, you know. I mean, actually the Cabo da Roca was actually quite easy, but the beach, you have to go through a really weird trail that I did a bunch of stories on Instagram. Don't forget to follow me there. And while I was doing it, I was quite nervous because I was doing all of this alone, but I did it. I arrived home and I was really happy. And of course I did this also with smaller things, like for example, instead of doing groceries only one time per week, I divided it by different days. This way I was not spending much money, I was not spending more money, I was spending the exact same, but instead of buying everything in the same day, I started doing it different days. This way I started going more times and I started forcing myself to talk with more people. And after all of this, after doing these small changes, finally I had the courage to do something even more crazy, and I went on Erasmus to Finland, to a place which is really far away. I had to take the plane completely on myself, find a way to go from Helsinki, which is the capital, to this city which is in the middle of nowhere, everything by myself. And we are talking about a person that at that time I was stressed about everything. You know, just taking a bus that I have taken 10 or 20 times was already super stressful for me. So imagine having to do all of this on my own for the completely first time on a complete different country. And I won't go much more in my story because I don't think that's the point of this video. It's not my story, it's how this story can maybe help you. And my goal with all of this is that doing this kind of thing started to really change my life in a good sense, because I started to change a lot of things until the point that today I'm actually living on a country that is not my country. So I'm right now in Barcelona in Spain, and I live in Portugal. I come from Portugal, and I'm also doing a full-time job, and today I'm literally going on a work trip. And so that you have an idea, the last time I went on a work trip I was horrible. I was, how do you say, I was throwing up, I was really nervous, and today I'm here doing a video. So yeah, before I tell you the last couple things, because I still have some funny stories to tell that you're gonna really like it, and during those funny stories I will show you the amazing hotel that I will be staying today. So yeah, let's keep going because I really don't want to get late and I have a plane to catch. So see you in the airport. Bye! So there are way more people than I expected, but let's ignore that part. But in general, I just wanted to finish this part of the video because there is still one in the end that is going to be quite interesting. But basically what I wanted to tell you is that right now I'm actually facing two fears of my own that I hate, and literally 2 years ago I would have never had the courage to actually do this. So the first one is the fact that I am traveling alone, which is something that, as I mentioned, it was something impossible for me. I would never do it. It was like, it would make me throw up, I would have a really bad day, and today I didn't have that bad of a day. It was still a little bit bad, but way better than what it was in the beginning. So, and the second fear is the fact that I'm actually talking to a camera in the middle of quite a lot of people, which is something that I also would have never done, literally, not even 1 year ago. So yeah, I am quite happy with these changes. So the main idea of telling you this is that the more things, like the more you engage in things that you really don't like and that really scare you, the easier it will be to overcome it. And not only that, but also other things. For example, this part of vlogging, this came not because I vlogged a lot, but because I did other stuff and proved me that I was more than fine while doing things that I don't really feel comfortable. Take it by steps, small steps at a time. You don't need to jump yourself to a really big trip on a plane alone. But you can maybe try to take the bus alone, the metro alone, do some bigger trips alone, and then when you are ready, try to travel. You can of course start by going with people and then with less people, and until you are actually able to go alone. But this is just an example. So yeah, now I gotta get going because I don't want to be late to the airport, not to the airport, but to the gate. And I don't want to lose the flight, because if not, my company will kill me. So yeah, let's go to the hotel. Finally home, and you have no idea the amount of things that happened from the moment that I left you guys, from the moment I just arrived. So first thing, we are in the line for the plane, and then suddenly they tell us that the plane is actually gonna take 2 more hours to arrive. And worse than that, the police was always going to our gate every 15 minutes, waiting for us to start boarding, which was a little bit scary. And finally, after 1.5 hours, when we finally started to board, the police came to everyone and everyone had to show their passports to make sure they were not fake. So I have no idea if they spot someone or if they knew about something or if it was just simply random checkings, but it took even more time after that. Then finally I arrived to London. I go to the metro and right before my station we stop at the station, and then suddenly there's an alarm and everyone needs to leave the station. Thank God that I was inside of the train or the metro, so I didn't really need to get out, I just needed to wait for the next station, but it was quite scary. And then two more things. I arrived to the station, finally I start going to my hotel, I pass through a drunk guy, and this drunk guy starts following me. Now, I have no idea if he was actually following me, probably not. But you know that in London, at least people from outside of London have this idea that London is really dangerous, at least I do. So when I saw him, I started going a little bit faster. But eventually I arrived here and my reservation didn't work. Yeah, I had to put a bunch of names and finally after like 10 minutes trying, they were able to finally find my reservation and I finally arrived here. So I don't want to take much more time, I am going to show you this amazing room in an amazing b-roll, and then I'm going to tell you two funny stories from the last time I was here, and that's it, so let's go. Really interesting things to tell you about, like I told you, the two stories. What are the two stories? Well, the first one was related to the fact that this bed, I mean not this specific, the one I was in the last bedroom, in the last time I came here, it extended, but the first time I entered I had no idea, so I actually thought the bed was way smaller and I was about to call them and tell them, hey, like I cannot sleep in this bed, it's too small, but then I realized that I just needed to click on a button and the thing extended. But unfortunately, this is a normal bed. So this entire time that I wanted to tell you this story now doesn't make really sense and it's not that funny. But at least we have the second story, basically this thing that you see here. Well, apparently in London and UK they do not use the same type of plug that we do in Europe, and I had no idea about it. So the first time I came here without almost any battery on my phone, expecting to charge it, and I didn't have the adapter. So basically I spent the entire night quite worried I was not going to have battery, until I actually had the idea that I could just use my Mac to actually charge my phone, which was something that didn't really cross the mind, but eventually I got there. But it's not that funny, it's just like, I don't know, I think most people think about this, I didn't, and I kind of regret it. But this time I actually brought an adapter. So yeah, moment of the truth. Let's find out if this actually works. It works. So, was all of this worth it? You know, going through all of this stress of going to a bus alone, of going to trips alone, of going to a plane on myself, of going to an airport by myself, going to the groceries more times so that I talk with more people. Was all of these things actually worth it? I believe so. I think that nowadays I can do stuff that 1 year ago or 2 years ago I would have never even imagined of doing. So at the end of the day, I think that for me this really worked. And it doesn't matter that with you it will work 100%, we are all different and I'm not a therapist at all. But I truly believe that if you simply start going with a different mindset of facing things, I do believe that things will change. But yeah, I'm gonna get going because I'm really tired. It's already almost midnight and tomorrow I have to work. I mean, that's the whole purpose of me being here. So yeah, let's go to sleep. Thanks for watching and have a great night.